Hi guys, it's been 4 months and I did not realize it had been so long since I posted. And my last video is budgets and diets, why are they so hard to follow? And I'm still struggling with these two things. One, I'm trying to figure out how to eat to stay healthy. So I started another vlog just on that. Well, it's a personal vlog and that's one of the things I'm talking about on there. But financially, we are just not making any headway right now. It's just been one of those years where years of bad decision making, because we've not been terrible, but we pay our bills, pay our mortgage and all that. And I wanted to address one other thing before I go on. Somebody said that I lost them when I mentioned a rental house. Let me be very clear. I make no money on this house. We bought this house when our daughter was renting our current house. We moved up to Richardson, Texas. We wanted to live in a different area and check it out and see if we liked it. And we did, but we missed our family. So we wanted to move back home, but my daughter's then husband had moved his entire family out from California, and there was no way they could rent somewhere else with as many people and animals as they had. So we had one of two choices: stay up there, rent a house that was absolutely ridiculous, because even back then the rents were terrible, or try to buy a second home. We didn't think it would happen. We had just bought a brand new car at the time. Our car is now 11 years old, because we bought it in 2000. Well, we bought it in 2013. It's 10 years old this year. But we tried, and we bought a really cheap house, a $104,000 home. It was really outdated, and it was not some big price. But we qualified for it, and we bought it, and we moved in. When our now ex-son-in-law's family all moved back to California, we asked that's when we did it. When they moved back to California, we asked them, do you want to trade houses, because we want our house back. We had left most of our stuff here in the outbuildings. We just took what we needed. So most of our stuff was still here. We had just taken all of our furniture and then some of our other stuff. So most of our stuff was here. And we wanted the house. We wanted the space. This is a bigger house. Not a huge house by any means, but it's bigger, has more property, and we missed our home. And they loved the home we had just bought, so that's what we did. She is now remarried, divorced from him, and remarried in a very happy marriage, and they're still renting that house. And she's been renting it since March of 2014. They pay the exact mortgage we pay. We get a little bit of tax write-off on it, and that's it. We don't make money on that house, and we never will. We're not going to charge our kid profit when they're struggling to build a business and all that. Even if they weren't, I would not charge my kid profit. And I know a lot of people wouldn't understand that, and they wouldn't even support that. But that's just how it is. It's one day they'll buy another house, and at that point we'll either sell it or rent it out. Probably sell it. We're in our 60s now, so if they ever buy another home, we'll sell that one and pay off this one. But yeah, so somebody was upset with me, like I can't be struggling or be frugal if I own a second home. Yeah, I could kick them out and sell that house and pay off this house or most of this house. I could do that, but they're paying $1,100 a month on that house. That's what the mortgage is. We refinanced it down to 3.65%, and they messed up on the escrow account. I told them to be sure and make sure there was plenty of money for the taxes. They did not. So now for a year she's paying extra till it gets caught up. It should go down a bit next year. But I'm not going to kick my daughter out. We're not destitute by any means. If we needed the money, then we'd have to think about it. But I'm not going to make them pay. They could not rent there's a family of 6 living in that house. Our daughter and her 2 kids from her first marriage, and her new husband and their 2 children of the last 6 years. There's no way they would be paying here, even in Texas. They would be paying for they have a 4-bedroom right now, because we made the garage into a partial to 1-bedroom, had a contractor do it. It's all done right. The 1-car garage, we left 5 feet of garage in front, and the rest is a bedroom. Done professionally with a hallway going out to the backyard. So they have a 4-bedroom, but it's only 1 bath. To rent this house would be $1,800 to $2,000, and that's probably being conservative because rents are outrageous here. So they can't afford to go up $700 or $800 a month for their mortgage or their rent. They just can't afford it, and I'm never going to do that to my kid. So if anyone has problems with that and doesn't think anything I have to say is valid because of that, I apologize, and you don't have to watch my videos. I totally understand. But owning a house that your kid rents from you for the cost of the mortgage is not the same as having a rental property that you make profit on. It's just not the same. But anyway, I wanted to clear that up because somebody was clearly upset about that and made a comment on one of my videos. And it kind of bothered me at first. And I'm like, well, that's fine. They don't understand the circumstances, so I'm explaining it. But my husband makes decent money. We're not wealthy by any means, but he brings in enough to pay all of our bills, put a little in savings every month, and put some in our 401k. But we had to take money out of our 401k because our roof was 40 years old, and our insurance was through the roof, and we're trying to get new insurance, but we had to put a new roof on. So we took out money out of the 401k. Now that he's in his 60s, we didn't have to pay a penalty, just the normal taxes, and put a new roof on. And we also put one on the rental property because we want to be able to sell it or rent it, but sell it probably when they move out. And I don't know if I'll have the money to put a new roof on when we're retired. So I took the chance and got both roofs done at the same time. It was $8,000 for that roof, and they didn't need decking or anything. This house needed decking, everything. So it was $12,000 for this roof. But it's paid off because the new roof on this house alone, we had old shingles from 90 years ago up there, almost 100, that had been layered over. We had the wood shingles and a layer or two of composite over it, but no what's it called, decking. It was just strips of wood. So everything went out the roof, everything. Now it's got a vent up there, a ridge vent. And boy, does it keep this house more comfortable. And we're going to do more insulation once we can get an electrician out here and finish. We started working on the old, what's that old wiring called? Knob and tube. We had an electrician do it. We were doing a little bit at a time, and we need to have him come back out and finish it. And we need about 3 more rooms done. And then once all the knob and tube is out, then we can put thicker insulation in there, and that'll make a big difference. So these are things we're trying to tie up. Some will get done before we retire, some we won't, but it's only about $100 a drop. We can afford to do the electrical overtime even once we retire. But the roof, that was a big chunk, and it was only going to go up, So we had that, but we are able to write off at least the roof for the other house. This is on this year's taxes. And our accountant said, because we do have an accountant, we used to do taxes on our own, and I was losing money every year because I didn't know how to claim the other house. I tried. I couldn't figure it out. So the few hundred we pay him a year, he helps us a lot, and he helps us to get some money on that. Plus I resell on the side. I have for 20 years, but never used that. I just, never tried to get any deductions for that. And, now I have deductions being claimed toward it. I saved my receipts, and I didn't know how to do all that stuff. It's easy to claim income, but it's not so easy to figure out on Tax Act and stuff how to do all these. So now we got a guy that's helping us, and he's a family friend. He gives us a good deal, but we still pay him for his time, and we're figuring it out. But the kind of bump in our road right now is my husband is going to retire next year. He's turning 62 this year, next month, but he's done. He's had, since 2019, he's had 2 spinal surgeries, a hernia surgery, and a meniscus surgery. And now we find out tomorrow whether he needs a surgery in his arm. He is in terrible pain. It definitely has a tear. We could only read that out of the MRI results. We don't know what anything else says. We'll find out tomorrow if he has to have surgery or can he do PT. Either way, the 12-hour shifts, driving an hour each way to work and working 12 to 13 hours in a plant where there's a lot of heat is just not worth it anymore. It's going to shorten his life. And he had wanted to work till 67. And he was strong as an ox. But now he, because of some kind of damage in his back, he can't lift up on his toes. He can't lift. You can't put a piece of paper between his heel and the floor. He cannot lift. He can hold on to a counter and use his upper arms to lift up, but he cannot lift his body weight up. And he can only do that for a second with using his arms. And so we are going to see a foot doctor about that. So far, nobody's been able to help us. We've even had nerve tests done for his legs. Nobody can tell us anything. So we're going to see a podiatrist next month in August, in 2 weeks. No, in a week. And find out what's going on, because it's exhausting. Because when you can't move your feet right, you're walking like, imagine walking with your foot flat on the floor. It's exhausting. And he's a supervisor. He has a crew of guys that fix machinery. He's got to walk around this plant all day, and it's exhausting. And he has to climb steps. Well, when you can't use your toe, you have to put your entire foot on the step. He has size 13 boots, and the steps are this wide, so he has to put his foot sideways and go up and down the stairs 3 or 4 times a day. And I've seen them. They're scary stairs. So he's exhausted, and I told him, you know what, that's it. We're going to do it next year. We're going to save our butts off this year. We're going to build the reselling up as best we can. We've got some other ideas we're going to try. So we're trying to get back to the frugal thing again. And I wanted to come back here and admit that we've been messing up, that, well, we've had expenses, but groceries seem to always be our biggest battle. I don't know if you guys go through that, but groceries and food in general, eating out and groceries. And now I'm on carnivore. It's the only thing that seems to help with my pain and inflammation in my body. And David's working his way to keto. He doesn't want to do carnivore. He doesn't mind doing a little bit, but he wants to eat some vegetables and cheese. Well, you can eat cheese, but I can't even eat dairy. It makes my skin break out. So we're working toward that. So our grocery bill went way down. And of course, we're not eating out. When you don't eat dairy and you only eat meat, there's no point in eating out. I'm not going to pay $5 for 2 patties from the double bacon burger that I can only eat the bacon and the meat. That doesn't even make sense. So no eating out right now, and just eating at home and just buying the basic groceries we need. Bacon, eggs, breakfast sausage, and meat. And for David, some veggies. Mainly frozen and a few canned. And we're really cutting our grocery bill down. Believe it or not, even though we're just eating meat and a little bit of vegetables, when you're not buying all that other stuff, like, whatever, ice cream and chips and whatever the stuff is you buy, it gets much cheaper because you're more focused on certain foods. So we're trying again. I'm not going to do like a no spend. All I'm going to do is do my best to spend as little as possible. By my next video, I'll try to have some kind of a budget. I'm not going to show you all my individual bills, but kind of tell you what we're spending on groceries and utilities and stuff like that. I've got level pay on my electric, so what would be a $300 bill is only $180, because then it's $180 in the winter, when my electric bill would be like $100. So my plan is changing, though. And I had a 3-year plan. It just expired last month, and this is the first month, and they haven't updated me yet on what the new plan is or how much it's going to cost. But I'm planning on it going up at least a few percent, because I think I was at like 10 or 11, and I think it's going up to like 14 per kilowatt hour. So it's going to be a noticeable difference. So we're trying hard to keep the air from going too high, but unfortunately, I don't know if any of you experience this. Our house is almost 100 years old, 99 years old, frame house. Insulation stinks, single paned windows. And then the lack of insulation in the ceiling is only a little, and we can't fix it till we get the electrical done. So I can set it at 69, and it'll actually turn off during the day and all night. If I set it at 72, 73, 74, it never turns off. It's like it gets so warm, especially at 74. It gets so warm in here that it ends up being 76, maybe even 78. When I set it at 69, it goes up to 72, but then at night it'll turn off for a few hours. And in the morning when I get up, it doesn't run for a few hours. And we've had 103 temperature for weeks now, and it's continuing for the next 2 or 3 weeks. Oh, my computer there went my light because my computer turned off. So, I'm trying to manage the bills, the utility bills. We do have a few streaming things, but we don't pay for cable. We have Roku, so we have Sling TV on Roku, and a couple like Paramount, and I don't know. We have several individual ones, but Sling is where most of our stuff is. And it's cheaper than cable, but not as much as I would like it to be. I mean, cable for us would be, oh yeah, we'd get that discount for the first year or two, but then it would go up to $200 again. So, and we never even had any pay channels, and it went way up. We didn't have HBO or Cinemax or any of those expensive movie channels, and it still got way up, and we were like at 120, and that's why we had to cancel our satellite. So we're still trying to figure all this out, because now we got 8 months, maybe a little longer. We're going to try for April, because that's when he has a spinal checkup again. So far so good. Everything's great. The doctor doesn't foresee any issues, but he wants to go in one more time, because if the doctor says, oh, there's an issue above that surgery, because he has said that's a possibility down the line, that where his surgery ended, above there could start to have problems, that there's already a little bit of issues, but he wasn't too worried about it. That's why he's got to get out of work, because that job is very physical and it's breaking his body down. But we got to make sure, because if the doctor says, yeah, I think in the next year you might need a surgery, he can't quit. He's got to keep going. Don't even think disability, because we talked to the doctor about that, because it's hard for him to walk. He's exhausted. He's got this, these issues with his legs. But the doctor said you wouldn't get it. And I know our son-in-law had an amputation. He had gotten 80% disability from a very bad car accident. That leg was no use at all. I mean, he had to drag it pretty much. And finally got it taken off after, I think this happened in 2006, and finally got somebody to remove that leg. And this was a VA thing. And he's still fighting to get full disability, and it's been over a year since his surgery. And that's on their list of qualified injuries, and he's still fighting to get it. So he said, don't even bother, you won't get it. You're just not going to get it. And it can take up to 2 years to get it, so we won't even bother. But we're saving, and he will get a small pension, but we're living now as if he was retired, to see how we do. But the goal is for him to retire no later than August of next year. But please understand, if we're not in a good place, he won't quit. We're not going to be foolish. But if we can get enough money saved, because we don't want to collect Social Security for at least as long as possible. Because, of course, at 62, 63, 64, 65, you get way less than you do at 67 or 70. So we're going to try to build our streams of income. And my reselling, it's very easy to make good money at reselling, so I'm going to work on that. I'm going to work on writing more, because I used to write, and with Amazon you can publish books. Hey, maybe you can make a couple bucks. We're going to get on Skillshare. I do a lot of tutorials on YouTube, but I could do those same tutorials on Skillshare and actually get paid for it. So I'm going to look into that, and he's going to look into that for some stuff he wants to teach, like stained glass and different repairs and different things. So we got a lot of irons in the fire that we're working on to get at least a little bit of income. If like all of them brought in 100 or two, right? That would add up. And I know with resale you can easily make a decent amount. And I mean, I'm not going to be making 100,000 a year or 50,000 a year like some of these people on TV. They've got huge subscriber bases, and that's how they sell a lot. But it's easy. Even they've said you can easily make between 10 and 20,000 a year reselling if you really work hard at it. And I think we can do that, because I was making 1,000 a month doing it very part-time. Right now I'm only at about 300 a month, because I just kind of took a break from it, but I'm going to get back to that, get back to it and get no, I wasn't making 1,000 a month. I was making, I don't know, I think I was up to like almost 500 a month is what it was. I can't remember. But it was definitely way more than it is now. But I can get it back up. The more you list, the more you sell. So I'm getting my stuff in order and trying to get working on getting things listed and listing more of my handmade things on Etsy. And I wanted to come back here though and at least talk to you. And I'm at 20 minutes. I've kind of rambled on. But this was more just to touch base with you guys, explain a couple things, and let you know where we're at and that we're all okay. And I'm going to get back to doing topics that are more interesting. One thing I'm very interested in looking into is credit reports. Our credit report on Experian, despite never paying anything late for years, 2 mortgages, a car, we paid off a car, but that car's long off of there. No, we paid it off. It was a 6-year loan, and we bought it 10 years ago, so we paid it off 4 years ago. And we have a new car we've been paying on. Oh, I think we bought it not long after that one was paid off. So we've been paying on that car for 2020. So it's the 3rd year we've been paying on it. And I can't get mine, and he can't get his out of the mid-60s. But yet, if you go on Credit Karma, we're both like 750. I want to investigate this more, how credit reports really work. And when did the credit report become the thing that's so important? I want to research that, maybe teach you a little bit about it too, because it just interests me. So hopefully you'll find that interesting too. And that might not be my next video, because I've printed out a bunch of papers. I got a lot to read and note taking, but I will be doing that in the next month or so, because I'm really interested in that. And there's other subjects I want to look into and research and do videos on. But for now, we're working on getting back on our budget. We've got some other expenses for the rental house right now. We thought we were going to have to replace the whole air conditioning unit, but it turns out when they added the garage years ago, before we bought the house, the original owners were going to make the garage into part of the kitchen. And they ran an air conditioning heater vent in there. Then the husband passed away and the wife could never do it. So all these years there was a heater air conditioning vent hooked up to the unit, and even when you turn it off, air comes out. Well, what it turns out is they did it wrong. So what our daughter was telling us is that room's freezing in the summer and roasting in the winter, where the rest of the house is hot in the summer and cold in the winter. So they need to take all the ducts off this pontil or whatever they call it and rebuild it. Put it back together so that the air is dispersed evenly through the house. Because it works great, it's just old. I mean, it's old, but we pay for $50 a month on each house, and it covers them coming out 2 times a year to do a thorough workup on both units. Twice a year at this house, twice a year at that house, and I can write that $600 a year off. They also give us top priority. If we have a call, they come same day, and we get no service call. We just pay for the repair, and we have a maximum of $385 is the most we can pay for a repair, and less than that depending on what the repair is. Like we did $125 on theirs because there was a little problem, and then our capacitor went out earlier this month, and we had to pay $125 for that. So I think those are the 2 stages that we pay, because you're never going to get something cheaper than $125. But anyway, they don't charge us service calls. We get top priority, same day, even on holidays and weekends. We don't get charged. And it's already paid for itself, because we've had some repairs that would have been well over $1,000. So, and paid $385. So, and our unit's about 4 or 5 years old, and it's already had a few problems because the heat here is so bad in the summer, and then we can get down to really cold in the winter. So our unit gets both fluctuations. We have only a few months each year that run like in the middle, you know. We usually go from hot to cold. We might have like a month of in between, and the reverse the other time of year. So we had to deal with that. We're still dealing with our daughter's house. But we already talked to the tax guy about it, and he told us how he'll handle it all. And then on this house, we'd have to replace a few windows. Well, we have 28 windows. They all need to be replaced. But we're going to start doing like a window a month or a window every few months till we get it all done. Because It's about $300 a window to get decent windows. So you figure if we do a window, like save up for a few months, do a window, save up for a few months, do a window, we can do that indefinitely. And then it'll just take us maybe a few years to actually probably do 3 or 4 windows a year, starting with the most important ones, like where we actually are all the time, our bedroom, the family room, the kitchen, then my studio, my husband's studio. Then we can do the resale room and our living room. It's a 4-bedroom house, so I'm just naming off bedrooms. We made the formal living room into an enclosed bedroom. My husband took out the double doors to the living room, walled it up, the door to the kitchen, walled it up, put a door in the hallway, and it's a proper bedroom with a closet and everything. He did a beautiful job. Oh my gosh. Well, our grandson, who's now 19, was like 3 or 4 when he did it. So we only have 1 bedroom out of 4. The rest are all our studios and a resale room behind me. You can see the window behind me right there. That's my resale room. That was the formal dining room. So, and then the living room will be last because we never go in the living room. Right now it's a storage room. As we're going through all our other rooms, we're getting stuff out of here because we are going to have a yard sale. Our goal is to get rid of, over the next year, half of what we own. And I'm dead serious. My studio here, his studio, well, the resale room, even that, I'm going through and pulling a lot of stuff out and just putting it out. I'll get my money back plus a little profit because I always buy cheap. So that's what we're working on. A lot of it will have to wait till he's retired because, well, right now he can't do anything because of his arm. And he just is in too much pain, and then he'll be recovering. So after he retires, we got enough stuff for 1 yard sale, mostly our kids' stuff, but we'll make some money. And then next year we'll have a big blowout one in the summer after he's all recovered and retired and has every day off that we can actually go through everything. So that's kind of where we're at. Purging, saving, fixing up the house, fixing up our bodies, trying to get healthy. We're not unhealthy. We just got issues we got to deal with. And that's it. So that's my update, and I'm not going to be gone that long. I'm going to try to get on here my goal is once a week to have a video on this channel, my haul channel, my crafting channel, and my personal vlog. The personal vlog might be more often because I'll just be talking every day for a few minutes about different little things. This one I want to get into more in-depth things and talk about specific subjects. But I apologize for, I never dreamed I was gone for 4 months. That's why I told my husband, 8 months to retire, that's going to fly by. It's just going to fly by. So I hope you guys are all well. I really appreciate you watching. I hope you'll hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. And if you're not subscribed, I hope you'll give me a chance and subscribe and hang around and see if I have anything interesting that you enjoy. And I'm always open to any subject. I'll research anything and do a video on it. If it's something financial or life, regarding this type of subject where budgeting, finance, money, I'll research anything and do a video on it if it's something everybody would be interested in. I'm going to start with the credit reporting because I find that fascinating, but there's so many subjects we could cover. And I will get into more about retirement, Social Security, pensions, 401ks. We'll talk more about those things too, because over the next 8, 9, 10 months, those are going to be really critical in our life. And as we find medical, I'll talk about that because we're going to have to get our own medical because we won't have Social Security medical because he's only 62. Be retiring right before he turns 63 or around that, between April and August he'll be retiring. He'll be 63 in August. So I'll be talking about all those subjects too for anybody that's interested. So, but you have a wonderful rest of your day, or if it's at night, have a good evening whenever you're watching this. But this is the end of July 2023. Actually, it's July 27th. I will get this posted tonight. It will not be an edited video, so if I misspoke, I can't edit it. I'll talk about that in another video. But I made a big mistake buying an editing program, and I'm having a heck of a time with it. And now I can't even upload videos because it wants me to it wants me to delete something else. So my son's going to come over and help. So right now, in unedited videos, so if I misspoke or said something wrong, I can't correct it with captions right now. But I'll be back soon. Thank you so much for your patience. I really appreciate you guys. Bye.